Yeah, I couldn't remember what else happened this week aside from.
I don't think much happened other than that. Just rumors just a flying about Nintendo.
Any day now, it
I'm
could
think
happen.
I'm thinking tomorrow. I think we're getting the announcement tomorrow. They're just gonna put it out there on the first. Just go for it.
Wait, tomorrow's the 31st, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think tomorrow they'll announce the direct for
For the
Wednesday.
first.
Yeah.
Could be right. Could be on something.
I was either thinking that or the 8th, the day after the shareholder meeting.
Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, Perp?
What's up? What's up?
Over on YouTube. All right, Nick. Did you tweet us out?
Yep, we're good to go.
Sweet. All right. Put everything back up here. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the episode. Welcome back to Gaming with the Bros Cast. My name is Harrison. I'm joined by my brother Nick. As always, Nick, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Sorry, I just realized my mic wasn't plugged in.
Oh. Well, I can hear you just fine. Or was it a different mic?
Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Turn it up a little bit.
Turn it up a little bit.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Hold on, I got you. Never mind.
Okay.
All right. Talk one more time.
So, hey.
All right, cool. All right, we'll start over.
Okay, sorry.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Gaming with the Bros Cast, episode 156. My name is Harrison. I am joined by my brother Nick. As always, Nick, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Feeling good. It's a
Good.
nice Monday.
Yeah.
I love Mondays.
That's about as good as a Monday can be, right?
Yeah. How you doing? How you feeling?
Doing good. Doing good. I took a little nap after work. It was...
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't really sleep that great last night, and I got up after work. I took like a shower, and then Kellen fell asleep in our bed. So I was like, you know what? I'm jumping in.
Take a little snoozer.
I took a little snoozer, so I had to get refreshed. But yeah, it was a good week. Did you do anything fun?
Not really. I mean, just hung out. Went out to dinner a few times. I rode. Me and Alicia. She rode our bike, and I rode my skateboard to downtown.
Okay.
And we went over there and had lunch, and then rode back. But it was cool. We took the trails.
Sweet.
Pretty fun. It was only 2 miles, so it only took about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we just chilled out because Saturday was really nice, so we just hung out outside for a little bit.
Okay.
And went back, but yeah, it's cool.
Cool.
Yeah. How was your weekend? How you doing?
It was doing good. We had a parents took the kids on Saturday, so we went to our local bar or whatever, and had some drinks and played pool and we started out, we got in there, we put our name on the list to play pool. So we went to the back corner where the ping pong table was, and nobody was playing. So this guy was standing there, and I didn't realize at the time that he was shwasted. I mean, it was 9 when we got there. So he'd been pounding him back. So he's like, hey, any y'all want to play? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'll play. So we're warming up or whatever. And then we played a 21. I destroy him. And then I'm like, all right, let's play again. I was like, yeah. I used to have a ping pong table back in the day. So I was like, I'm just lucky, try to make it feel better or whatever.
Right.
And then he goes to serve the first one. He kills me. And I'm like, did this guy is he trying to show me up or something?
Is he swindling you?
Is he swindling me?
Hustling you?
Is he hustling me for even though we're not playing for money? And then I ended up destroying him, but he was doing the so he was pretty wasted. And then 30 minutes later, he had left and he came back and he was like, hey, have you guys seen my wallet? And I was like, no. I was like, I haven't seen it. I was like, he's like, I thought you were drinking that can that's sitting back in that corner. is that yours? And he's like, I don't know. He was pretty gone. And he went over there and looked and came back. And he's like, y'all messing with me, man? And I was like, no, man. I'm trying to help you out. I was like, I don't know where your wallet's at. We don't have it.
Huh.
And he's like, y'all better not have it. And I was like, okay, Manny. I was like,
Dude.
you better go figure it out. And then, like, right when he said that, the bartender came over and was like, hey, man, I got your wallet behind the bar. Come on. I was like, dude, come on.
Wait. So he plays ping pong with you for 2 rounds, and then he tries to instigate after that. I mean, what kind of etiquette is that?
A little bit. I was like, man, what?
You better not have my wallet.
Yeah, I was like, come on,
man.
dude. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? So, but other than that, then we then we Ubered back to our house, and right when we got into the driveway, Antoine was with us, and he was like, hey, y'all want to go to this other bar? It was like 12:30, and I was like, all right, let's go. So, yeah.
How late were you out?
It was probably after 2. I don't know.
For 2.
The second bar started to it was a little blurry at that point.
You were becoming the ping pong guy.
Yeah, exactly. But then we came back and then went to bed. But and then Sunday just played a bunch of games. So it's a good weekend.
Nice.
It's a good week.
Sick.
All right, let me pull my list up here. I mean,
we gotta talk about Last of Us.
Yeah. So before we dive into games, episode 3 of Last of Us. So, again, just to reiterate, every episode we're gonna talk about the previous episode of The Last of Us. Full spoilers for this episode, potentially the other 2. So I'll have it bookmarked or marked like in the podcast if you guys are listening to audio version. So you guys can skip right ahead. But is this the greatest episode of The Last of Us so far?
I think so. It was so beautiful. I cried a lot.
Yeah, dude.
It was like, dude, so just the scene where Frank is like telling Bill how the day is gonna go.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And then seeing Bill's face, like just seeing him cry.
Yeah.
It was just so sad.
It's crazy because I mean, the reviewers said that the episode 3 was like really where they start to deviate the most.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, like I remembered their characters, but I didn't remember how it happened in the game.
I didn't either.
So like in the game, spoilers for the game, you come across Bill and his like compound. Frank's already left. It doesn't like necessarily state that they're like a couple in the game. It just, I know Bill at some point says it's his partner, so I think it's heavily implied. But it's not like an actual like romantic thing that we can tell as the gamer. So yeah, Frank leaves. Like he hates Bill, and it winds up getting bitten, and then hangs himself and leaves like a mean note for Bill or whatever. And then I can't remember how Bill dies in the game. So they still have him die, but it's like in the most romantic way. I mean, it was a beautiful episode. God, beautiful.
Like it kind of gives hope. Like it gives that glimmer of hope of like, hey, you can, like these people lived their full life.
Yeah.
And they went out on their own terms for the most part. Like they didn't go out because of the outbreak or anything like that. Like they lived their lives, and I don't know, like the just the way that they compounded that story or compacted that story into an hour-long episode, but it felt like we watched their entire lives.
Yeah, it did. I don't know how they did it, but I felt like I knew them 100% by the end of that show. Like it was crazy. Like the writing in this show is just insane. If this show doesn't win like every Emmy available or possible, like I'm gonna throw hands. I'm gonna throw fisticuffs because it deserves. And I swear to God, like if there's any critique about it's just a video game adaptation, like no, I'm gonna throw some hands at some people because it's way more than that at this point with this episode, especially.
This is like becoming one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah,
it's like every episode has just been incredible so far.
Yeah,
in their own ways, and like I don't know.
I saw one comment that made me laugh. It was like, "All right, on this episode of Last of Us, Joel needs a car, so we're gonna give you the greatest love story of all time." That's the backstory, and now he gets his car. Oh my gosh,
Oh man, and Nick Offerman did such a great job
Oh yeah,
as Bill, too. Like, I don't know, Bill and Frank just have such a had like the beginning of their relationship was so funny,
yeah.
and it's, I don't know,
Well,
just
that's
like
like I love the cup. Like after they like after the piano scene or whatever, and it cuts like 3 years in the future, and they're like yelling at each other like a
fighting about something.
bickering about um uh Frank
Uh, uh,
wants to like cut the yard and make it look nice and make it look lived in, and Bill's like nah, who cares about all that stuff, we gotta he's just more worried about surviving. But
mhm.
yeah, I mean there's so many great scenes in this episode. I mean
Yeah,
the strawberry scene was like another
that was
like
great.
like Bill breaks down crying because it's so the strawberry's so good. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, and then you see like a flashback with Joel and Tess.
yeah,
And you kind of see their like how they're connected and how they have a relationship.
yeah,
Um, and that was kind of cool. And then obviously, you know, Bill leaves that letter to Joel
mm-hmm.
when when they kill themselves at the end. But yeah, a very very touching episode. I think. It's like one of the greatest episodes in television.
Yeah.
It's not even like it's not even really moving the plot forward that much.
No, no, it didn't. It didn't do anything for the plot really. It's just like again, it's just Joel needed a car, so
Yeah.
here's this beautiful story of these people that
That you,
they won. They won. They beat the apocalypse.
yeah.
Like yeah, I'm sure they had more encounters with like raiders and stuff that we saw, but I mean that one scene of like where Frank wakes up and then Bill takes the bullet, and then it's like 10 years later, and Frank's the one that's got like I don't know, he's got MS or some sort of degenerative. They don't really ever state what exactly it is, but I mean that's just one of the bad things about being an outsider in the apocalypse is you're not in a community that has maybe the medicine that he would need, but also it's a degenerative disease, so you know.
And they said like the, the rationale was like there was no cure before.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a cure now. Like there's no point in trying to fix it. You know.
And they did like such a great job of like aging them too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just man, just kudos to the entire just production team behind the show. It's incredible.
Yeah, this show is doing such a great job to make you care about characters within such a short period of time, like how they did with Sarah.
Yeah.
Like everyone loves Sarah, and then of course she dies 20 minutes into the first episode.
Yeah.
And then you have this episode where you fall in love with these characters, and it's just one episode. They're just in it for one episode.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Like, I was floored by how good that was.
Yeah, I did not expect it to be that good, at all. I was not ready for that kind of story at all. And then like the very beginning when Ellie and Joel are at that little convenience shop, the gas station, and you get like a glimpse of Ellie's like kind of dark side where she's like cutting the like the infected whatever, and then she stabs it. Like I feel like that's kind of like getting us ready for her eventual turn in season 2 when that happens.
See, I didn't know if it was that or if it was like her like just being curious and kind of reflecting herself.
Yeah.
That infected.
I mean, maybe. I mean, that could very be. I mean, that's just my theory. But
she's like, what is like? I know, like, when she cut up in the infected, maybe she was like, is this what I look like on the inside? Is this what I'm becoming? Is this what I would have become?
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Or maybe she's just, maybe it's like you said, where she's kind of just playing with her food a little bit.
Well, because I mean, you had that scene, and then that one scene that you mentioned in the first episode where Joel starts beating that federal officer, and you have that really creepy moment where she moves over and like just that facial expression she gives, you're like, whoa, that's kind of intense. So I don't know. Yeah. I feel like we'll see more little glimpses of that, of Ellie having that darker side, because I mean, I kind of want to like go back and play this game. Just I'm really thinking about it, and then I'll play through part 2 whenever that airs. I was thinking about that earlier. don't know.
Yeah.
Because the first one's not that long, right? I mean, it's like
12 hours.
12 hours. I mean,
13 hours.
That's definitely doable. Like just catch up, and then as we kind of know like the next episode, he's got the car, there's the scene.
There's the raider, or
the raider.
Yeah, they come across the raiders, and then Henry and his brother.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it might be I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the Raider episode. So maybe we'll meet what's Joel's voice actor's name?
Is he in the show?
He's in he plays a Raider in the show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, he'll be in there at some point.
Not Nolan North. Baker. Troy Baker.
Troy Baker, yeah. So he might be in the next one. But I even like listen, like I almost watched it again today, but I listened to I listened to the companion like not very many shows have me like double dipping and then also listening to a podcast on the side. So yeah, it's quite good.
It is pretty amazing.
Any last thoughts on season 3 or episode 3?
Episode 3. No.
Okay.
Just watch the show.
Yeah, it keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive on to what we've been playing. I'll briefly touch into my stuff before we, obviously Dead Space is the big game of the week. Hi-Fi Rush, of course. I've been watching this YouTuber play through Elden Ring for the first time, so I was like, you know what? Let me try Sekiro again. I have not beat that game. I think it came out 2019. I have not beaten that game yet. I tried for like an hour and a half to fight that stupid owl boss fight and just could not get through. It took me like 30 minutes to get acclimated with like the controls and like the system again. So I felt like I had that down. I just don't know if I'm just underleveled, or what the case is. I just could not do anything with this guy. I could get him down to like his second portion of the fight, but that was it. So I think I'm just underleveled, and I probably just need to go kill some enemies to get.
It's hard to get back into that game.
It's very hard. It's definitely I think probably the hardest one to get back into.
Oh yeah.
Just because it's so different than everything else. But so that made me quit. I quit the game, and then I was like, you know what? I need to feel good about myself. So I booted up Elden Ring, and just started going through some side bosses and stuff that I hadn't beat on my 5th or 6th run, whichever one I'm on right now. So I did that, and then I played a little bit more of Callisto. I'm probably going to try to beat it on the New Game Plus that's in there. Not much farther than I was last week. Yeah, it's good. I think the animations are really improved that game, and it should have launched with it. The game would have been so much better.
Sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to jump back in and play it. Maybe after Dead Space, I'll jump back in.
Yeah, I plan on playing Dead Space like 2 or 3 times just to get like all the endings and stuff. And then before we jump into Dead Space, still making my way through Fire Emblem. I think I am through chapter 9. Last week I was talking about how I messed up and I like had everybody dead, so I restarted. I started over on normal difficulty. And that night was able to get all the way back up to chapter 5. Just because I was skipping cutscenes and it was a lot easier. So now I'm in chapter 9. I've got all the characters. So I'm much better space now than I was last week with it. So
that's good to hear.
Not that I wasn't having fun. I knew with Fire Emblem, if you don't have enough characters at some point, you're just gonna be screwed. You're not gonna be able to do anything.
You're
so.
between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. So, but you played some more Fire Emblem, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about kicking the difficulty down from hard to normal. I was playing through chapter 17 last night before Last of Us, and I got like an hour and a half into a map, and there's like 6 bosses.
Oh gosh!
In this map, and they all have 2 two health bars essentially. So I was like kiting them all around, and I got down to the last one, and I was out of time crystals, so I couldn't
Oh wow.
rewind anymore. Like I was in a bad spot.
You were fighting, fighting for survival there.
So so like the last boss was like a little bit away, so I started approaching it, and I was probably like 20 spaces away from this boss. Or one of my units was Etty was about 20 spaces away.
Yeah.
And then the boss flies over. I'm like, what the heck? I didn't. And then I realized that they had a thing that could increase their movement by like 20.
They had an emblem that did that.
They had an
Okay.
They had an emblem. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, they had an emblem, and they came over, killed Etty. So I was like, and then I just couldn't kill the boss because they would attack and then fly away, attack and fly away.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And it was super annoying. So I ended up just straight up losing. Like Aleer died, and then I realized that if Aleer dies and you're out of time crystals, you can restart the map and retain the XP that you earned.
Yes. Yep.
So I was like, thank God, because I gained a lot of levels, or my units gained a lot of levels, and I was like,
Yeah.
I do not want to waste 2 hours of my life. So then I did it again and was fine, and only used like 2 rewinds.
Okay.
But after because I went to bed having lost last night, and I was like, damn, this game's hard. It's freaking hard, dude.
And what chapter are you in?
17.
17. Okay. How many do you know how many chapters there are?
I think there's 26.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but chapter 10's hard. Chapter 11 is pretty hard
Okay.
because there's a shakeup. But chapter 11 is really hard, and then
Yeah, the last one that I did, it's where you're defending like the castle wall.
And you get
in Brodia, and you've got like the ballista or whatever. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was a cool one. Yeah, I'm thinking about
knocking it down.
Depending on how the next chapters go, because I'm like 29 hours in.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm pretty deep, but
I mean, you made it over halfway on hard. I mean, that's
yeah.
I mean, you did a good job.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter. Like I don't need to play through it on hard.
Yeah.
It truly doesn't matter. But I'm absolutely loving it. I think the combat is like the best the combat has ever been. I think the break system is really cool. It takes the weapon triangle to like a whole different level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it adds a lot of complexity to the battles. So I having such a great time with it.
Sweet. Yeah, I love it. It feels like the old Fire Emblem of the past. It feels really good.
It does.
So yeah. All right. Tell me about Hi-Fi Rush, Nick.
Dude. Hi-Fi Rush?
Yeah.
It's so Hi-Fi Rush, right?
Hi-Fi.
Yeah, so this was like stealth revealed and stealth-released in the Xbox Developer Direct last week.
Yeah.
And it's like a rhythm action game where all of your attacks are with the beat of the music, no matter when you press the attack button. So
Okay.
your attack is always going to be to the beat of the music, but you like increase your damage, or you do bonus damage, or get bonus points if you time your button presses to the music as well.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yeah, so it doesn't penalize you at all
Okay.
for not attacking on the beat, but like I've played through 2 chapters so far, or 2 tracks, as they're called. Once you get into that flow and start hitting the combos, and like the way they do combos is really cool, because like you'll do like press X, and then you'll rest for a beat.
Yeah.
And then you'll press X again, and it'll do like combo, or
That sounds cool.
You can do a strong attack, which takes 2 beats to attack. So then you can like mix that in with your light attacks, which only take 1 beat. So it's incredibly cool. Like it reminds me of like a GameCube game like just an old school GameCube action game. Like,
Sweet.
yeah, it's really fun, and the like the animation style, like the art style is really cool too.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, you have you tried it?
I have not yet. I've got it downloaded. I'll definitely try it this week.
Yeah,
But
you gotta check
did
it out.
you did you play that Metal Hellsinger game?
I didn't.
No, I tried a
No,
little.
I
I
didn't.
tried the first like couple levels, and I just couldn't get into it. And I don't know if my calibration was off because I felt like I should have been hitting it on the beat.
Mhm.
Because that one like the more you get hit on the beat, the more your multiplier grows and grows and grows.
Yeah.
And the stronger your attacks become. So it's pretty similar to this, I think. But um, yeah, it looks really cool. It looks very cool.
Yeah, bosses have been really fun too,
Sweet.
and the music's just great. And the idle animation of your character, he'll just like sit there and tap his foot and snap when
Yeah.
he's idle. It's like, yeah, it's just the attention to detail, like all the little things really bring this game together. Like it brings the game together. And
Yeah, I think it was
It's a
pretty
cool experience.
genius. Like I mean, as much as we've been kind of ripped into Xbox the last year or so with no games, this game I think was the perfect game to stealth release because people would have saw this and say, hey, that's really cool, and then it would have gotten buried. So I
Yeah.
think say, hey, oh yeah, by the way, it's available right now. Like it just immediately got people in, and it's like charting super well. Like it's like number 6 or 7 on Steam, outside of Game Pass. So it's doing very
Yeah.
well. Of course, there's got to be the naysayers. Like Xbox finally gets something, and everyone, all the PlayStation people are
Coming out of the woodwork.
coming out the woodwork like, oh, it's not even that good of a game. Like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah, it's a good game.
get people something. Gosh.
When when I was watching the developer direct, Alicia walked in and she saw this game. She was like, "Oh, that looks like a game for you." And then later that night, I was playing it. She was like, "Was that the game that I saw earlier?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it's stealth released."
Stealth released. Well, sweet. Well, yeah,
Great
I've got it downloaded. I gotta try it out. See how it is.
Yeah.
Nick, let's talk about the game of the week
Game of the
though.
week.
Dead Space
Dead Space remake.
remake. Have you said you're about an hour and some change in?
Yeah, I'm still
Okay.
I still only finished the first chapter.
Yeah. Okay.
But it feels good.
Sweet. Yeah, I think I'm on chapter 5 now. I did not. I expected to go in this thing and it be really good because I mean Dead Space 1 I think still holds up pretty well. It hasn't been
Yeah.
that long since I've played it, replayed it. But I did not expect it to go into it thinking that it was going to be better than the RE2 remake, and I think it is for me at least.
Yeah.
And obviously like RE2, like I didn't have the nostalgia for that game because I never played it when it first released. So I didn't get that experience of seeing something that I played before, but with Dead Space, obviously I did, and all the changes they've made, like the fact that you can freely explore the Ishimura without having to use the tram if you don't want to.
Mhm.
They didn't have to do that, but they did, and it feels really good. Like everything,
It's all
everything's so
interconnected.
seamless, and like the gameplay is super snappy. Like just tapping B and you just heal feels really good. Using the D-pad to
Yes.
switch weapons with no lag.
Instantaneous.
Yeah, it's instantaneous. It just feels really good. The atmosphere is incredible. Like it's just an incredible remake.
Yeah, a little scary when
Yeah.
you at the beginning when you go and you have to like you have to like turn off the power essentially. It's pretty dark, pretty spooky.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
and that's new too, where like you could have an option of, okay, I need to get this door powered up. I can either turn off oxygen or I can turn off the lights. Like that wasn't in the original.
Mhm.
So it's really cool that they did that and added that new kind of element to give you the choice. I usually dim the lights just because it's whatever, so I don't have to worry about the
Yeah.
oxygen and stuff. But yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm having a great time with it so far, and obviously the stasis and the kinesis. Is it kinesis?
Kinesis, yep.
Yeah, like that feels really good.
Yeah. They brought over the kinesis from Dead Space 2, so actually pulling, or like once you chop off the enemy's arms, you can pull them up and shoot them back. That does a lot more damage than it did in Dead Space 1, so it's actually useful this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that doesn't use up any energy. Like kinesis doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't use up any of your that little
Your
dial in the back of your
stasis.
yeah. So yeah, I think there's like 17 or 18 chapters in the game. I was very curious on how they were gonna do. So it's not really a spoiler. There's a portion in the game where you have to shoot asteroids because you're kind of you're falling into the planet because the engines have died. And in the game, like in the original game, you make your way, you spacewalk and you make your way to the asteroid, to the gun or whatever, and you have to do this really awful like mini game of shooting asteroids, and it feels really bad. It's horrible. And this one, you just spacewalk again, and obviously this time around, anytime there's zero gravity, they introduce the Dead Space 2 flying around or whatever. So that feels really good. But you go activate the control. You go activate the gun, and then you have to shoot, like you have to aim up in the sky or in space, and you have to shoot the asteroids or like point at them and click A, and it starts to calibrate. You have to do it like 7 or 8 times per gun. I think there's 3 guns, and it calibrates it, so then it turns on like the automatic controls. So the way they handled it in this game is a lot better than the original. So I'm excited to see what other minor details they did to the game that improved the gameplay.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, it was awful back in the day. Because I think there was an achievement tied to it where you couldn't get struck by the asteroid, so it was horrible. Right. The only minor gripe I have of the game, and the movement's so fluid, is the running is not super great, and there's no quick turn. That kind of kills me.
You need to have a quick turn.
That kills me, and I don't think the first one had one either. So, it is what it is. But I feel like the wall, like you can easily like kind of maneuver around enemies if you need to. But
like the strafing and the it works pretty well. Like it's.
So yeah, so far I'm just kind of blown away by this game. It feels really good. It feels modern for a 2008 game. Yeah, it feels amazing.
It's cool that they kept the menus the same.
Yeah, everything's the same. Like
inventory, the store, the menu, like it all looks like whenever I press start, I'm like, am I playing a fucking Xbox 360 game right now?
Nope. But yeah, I'm excited to get more into it and finish it up. But yeah, it's super solid. I really hope that this thing sells well and they can remake Dead Space 2 and 3. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, I want EA Motive to have a hit.
Yeah,
and then they can continue this franchise, do Dead Space 4.
Yeah, Dead Space it needs to come back, and it obviously it has with this game. But like that was such a cool franchise, and we don't have a ton of survival horror games out there anymore, so it's good.
It's weird that it just kind of died because Dead Space 3, like it still sold pretty well, right? Like it's not like it bombed or anything.
No, I don't remember the sales numbers, but I just think critically it didn't do super well.
Yeah.
And that was when that was that weird era with EA when they were just trying to put microtransactions in every little thing, and that's what they did with Dead Space 3. So
yeah, I think arguably EA, like they're a pretty good studio at this point.
Yeah, I think once they got all that crap out of their system, I mean, like just remember like Battlefront 2 when that launched and had all those crappy microtransaction stuff going on. Like I guess they just listened to people. They listened to the feedback, and now we get some really good stuff. Like
we get
Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah.
They really haven't had a bad game or critically panned game or.
I think Battlefield 2048 wasn't super great.
Okay. Yeah.
But that was also like
forgot about that one.
It launched at $70. It was glitchy. It was the network wasn't great. So just I don't know, one of those greedy things. I don't think a multiplayer only game should be $70. That's a little bit crazy to me, but I think it's on Game Pass now. So
yeah. Okay, maybe to rephrase, their single player games have been very good.
Yes. So yeah, I would love to see more Dead Space in the future.
Yeah.
because that is awesome. All right, you want to dive into the news?
Yeah, before we do that, I do have a question for you.
Okay, yeah.
In the theme of Dead Space and then in Dead Space being a remake, obviously.
Actually, let's switch over real quick.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back. Go. All right.
Hey.
We are back. All right. What was your question?
So with a Dead Space remake just coming out, in your opinion, what makes a good remake?
I think sticking with the source material is really important for the most part. Obviously, improving like the visuals significantly, I think is really important. I don't like just proper or like kind of regular like HD remakes or something like that. I want like a full on remake like we've gotten with this and RE2. And then just going in and seeing what people didn't like in the first one and making changes. Because I mean, if you're making a game that's 15 years old, you know, look at Resident Evil 4, like one of the highest regarded games of all time. Like that game is not super fun to play, like in today's standards with the not necessarily the tank controls, but you know, you can't walk and shoot. Like that's just kind of it just doesn't work.
Unheard of now.
Yeah, it does not work in today's market. So, and I imagine, you know, they're gonna fix everything in RE4, but yeah, just going back and like I mentioned with the gun controls and you know, just adding the flight controls into like the zero gravity areas. It just, because in the original one you kind of just jump from like spot to spot. So yeah, just going in and making minor touches to the game, just making it as good as it can be, make it standard for a 2023 game or whatever year it releases. And yeah. What about you?
No, that's a good point. I mean, you really have, like with Dead Space, like they have 10 plus years of feedback. You know, they can see what was universally hated.
Yeah.
What parts people didn't like the shooting part, like the asteroid part. Like obviously people didn't like that and they changed it. And then you have the zero G stuff where Dead Space 2 was objectively better in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think that's a good part of it too, is like if you have sequels to that game, obviously you've iterated and you've improved on the mechanics. Why not retrofit those mechanics into the remake?
Yeah,
like they did with Dead Space, like they're probably going to do with Resident Evil 4. I'm sure they're going to, you know, modernize it to an extent. And I think probably the most important part of a good remake is not cutting any content.
Yes, yeah, they did that with Resident Evil 3, which I know a lot of people were. And again, I didn't really play that, so I don't have that viewpoint. But yeah, they cut the nostalgia for it. Yeah, they cut the clock tower part. So you know, and I don't know how good that part was. You know, I have no idea. But I mean, just like going in, like they brought back the original voice actor, to reprise his role as Isaac, to give him lines in this game where he was a silent protagonist in the last. So it just makes sense. Like, you know, a lot of games can't get away with having a silent protagonist anymore. So the fact that they brought that same guy in, to do new lines, was really cool.
It just shows how dedicated they were and how much they cared about, you know, capturing that same feeling.
Yeah. And then just like the new, I think it's like the peeling system that they call it, I think. Like where, you know, where there's like extra details to the necromorphs. Like when you are shooting the necromorphs and like you pretty much get them down to like just bone and they're walking on the boat. Like it's gross looking, but it's awesome at the same time. Yeah, it's yeah. You could tell that this project was that you could feel the love that they put into bringing this game into like a modern age, and that's what I appreciate about it, and that's what I feel like every remake should be and should strive for going forward.
Yeah, I mean that's what Resident Evil 2, like that one felt amazing.
Yeah.
You know, Resident Evil 3 to an extent felt really good, but obviously there's
yeah.
content. But I mean, we both played the heck out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I played more 3 than I did 2, but it was also, I mean, you could beat that game in an hour and a half.
Yeah,
so that's what I loved about it. But yeah, I just that's what my expectations, like between the Resident Evil team and EA Motive, like they have set the bars super high for remakes and how they should be. They shouldn't just be, you know, HD ports, you know.
Yeah, I don't like the HD remasters that keep everything else the same, but just put a fresh coat of paint on it.
Yeah, they, you know, you'll have the higher frame rate and stuff like that, you know. That being said, if they were to just port Bloodborne over to PS5 and give it 60 frames per second, I mean, you know, so
you would finally pick up a PS5, which are now available in stores. By the way.
I did see one at Walmart the other day for the first time. It was the God of War edition. I was like, oh yeah, okay, we're doing this thing now. All right, well,
They said that more would be available.
Yeah, hey,
they weren't lying.
Get on them. Yeah, that's the way it should be. You know, especially with the VR2 coming out here next month, right?
Yeah,
Is it February?
next month. Yeah.
All right, let's dive into the news this week. Not a ton of news, but we got some stuff to speculate, of course. We did have the Xbox Developer Direct last week.
Yeah.
I thought, while the show I thought wasn't super exciting, because they did lay the expectations that, hey,
they did,
you know, this is what's going to be here. I thought the format itself was excellent.
It was a great format.
Yeah,
like really well done. I think they highlighted each of the games just enough, but didn't linger on them for too long. Like they spent between like 7 and 10 minutes on each of the games, and like granted, like there was a lot to show. Like Minecraft Legends, like that one looks pretty interesting. Like I'll probably check that out. You know, Forza Horizon, I wish that would have gotten a date, or not Forza Horizon, Forza Motorsport.
Yeah,
I wish that would have gotten a date. That one felt weird that it was just like 2023.
Yeah,
so I'm assuming that'll be latter half of 2023, but that one looks really good too. Like I'll play that. And then you have Redfall, which I think Redfall looks pretty great.
Yeah, I
check it out.
I went into the show and came out more excited for each of those games. Now, granted, like Forza, like I'll probably dive in and see how it looks. You know, obviously that's a graphical looker.
Take your captures and
like Minecraft, I'm just not into Minecraft. I may try it out, but we'll see. But yeah, Redfall looks like it could be a really cool game. I'm more excited for it than I was a month ago with what we've seen.
And I think they sold the concept of Redfall better in this direct than they have like in previous trailers.
Yeah.
Like they cleared up a lot of like the misconceptions about what the game actually is, and I think that was well done on their part.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing, people just thought it was like a Left 4 Dead clone.
Mm-hmm. But it's clearly not.
Yeah, it's definitely way more than that. I mean, it's open world, so, and it's a pretty large area. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to Redfall for sure when that launches. May 2nd, right?
Yeah.
May 2nd.
May 2nd.
It's a dangerous time.
It's a little close.
Yeah, I mean, granted, they're completely different games, but yeah, I didn't think they would put anything out in May, or maybe like late May or something. But hey, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Is that what is May 12th?
May 12th. Yep.
May 12th. Okay.
So
that's a little close. It's 10 days.
Yeah. And for me, I just don't know if I want like a back-to-back open world thing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I want to play Redfall, but I also feel like if I don't play it, then I'm not going to play it. So, we'll see. We'll see. We don't know. We'll talk about here in a second, but we don't know about what Nintendo has coming around the corner. for the most part. So yeah, we'll definitely we'll see. I want to play it though.
Mhm.
It looks really cool. It looks like a really really cool like
Yeah, it
environment.
does. All right. Well, this news kind of just came out like 2 hours ago,
Yep.
but apparently Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony won't be at E3 this year.
Yep.
So they're not going to have like their own, like they're not going to have any space on the show floor. And this is kind of par for the course for Sony because they haven't been at E3 in years.
Yeah, it's been like 5 or 6 years at least, maybe even more than that.
Yeah, but Nintendo and Microsoft have always been there in some capacity.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is going to be like a big departure from the norm if there's no big three, like none of the big three at E3 this year. And granted, you were saying this earlier, but they're probably going to do their own thing. Like Nintendo's probably going to have some sort of summer directs.
Yeah.
And then Microsoft will have probably some sort of showcase highlighting like Starfield and maybe some other games. But yeah, kind of an end of an era if this is the case.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, I mean, Xbox owns like the theater that's right beside where that hall takes place, and I think a lot of people don't know is the press conferences were never part of E3 itself. That was always something that the big three kind of did on their own, just but slotted in with E3, and then they would have like their space on the floor where they showed off those games. But the press conference itself was always separate from E3. E3 had nothing to do with that. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll still get the respective, we'll get the Xbox, whatever they're going to call it, showcase, direct. I don't know if Sony does anything. They haven't really done anything around the E3 era in a long time. They've just kind of done their own thing. So I don't expect to hear from them at all. And then Nintendo will probably get something at some point in June. I mean, they didn't do anything last year. They had like that mini direct towards the end of the month, or partner showcase. I can't remember which one it was, but also they were, they like announced like Bayonetta's release date on Twitter, so they were doing like a weird thing last year. I expect this year they'll get back to form. Like I don't know if we'll get a bunch of Twitter drops. I think we'll start getting our normal, February, June, September, directs, and then have the minis sprinkled in, or the third party stuff sprinkled in. So, yeah. But yeah, it definitely feels like an end of an era for sure.
And like who's gonna be have the most presence at E3 on the show floor? Is it gonna be like Ubisoft and EA? Like I don't know, man.
I don't know if Ubisoft can afford. I mean, they can, but I don't know. What do they have to show off? Assassin's Creed?
Skull and Bones, dude.
So it can be delayed again? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of done with Ubisoft in their current form.
Yeah, they need to figure it out. Like, yeah, they're just open world stuff is just, I think it's just played out at this point. Yeah, I mean, we're still has Jeff Keighley confirmed the Summer Games Fest?
I don't know if he has.
Because like, where does that fall?
I don't know. I guess
Summer Games
same way it fell in 2021, where it was just like the week before.
Yeah,
that would be my guess if he were to have that.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't think it's been announced yet, but there's definitely one happening. Wait.
Okay.
Set to take place on June 8th, 2023. Oh yeah, that's right, because it's gonna be online and in person too. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So June 8th, 2023. What date? What specific date is that on? That's on a Thursday. Okay. Yeah, he usually does this stuff around on the Thursdays. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure when E3 takes place, but I mean, that's the way, that's the vibe it's kind of felt in the last couple of years, anyways. That Jeff is just the games guy now, and all of
the games boy.
Yeah, just all the games are going to be announced at his respective events for summer and fall stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, we've had our criticism about the Games Fest, but I did think that the video game the
Game
award
Awards.
show was Game Awards was a lot better this year or last year.
Yeah. It was really good this year.
They said it was shorter, but it still felt really long. But
Yeah, it should have still
but
4
there was
hours.
there was a lot of good stuff and
Mhm.
shown off, and yeah, it was a lot better, a lot better.
It would have been 3 hours, but Christopher Judge's speech went a little long.
His 35-minute speech. He's never gonna be invited back.
No,
They'll invite him back, but they'll probably make a joke about it. Yeah. I mean, it feels, to get that confirmation, I guess, from IGN. Yeah, it feels kind of strange, but also like it's kind of been that way for the last few years, anyways. So.
Yeah, like they didn't have it last year.
Yeah.
They didn't have it in 2020, so it was weird. They didn't have it 2020, had it in 2021, but it was online, and then didn't have it in 2022.
Yeah.
So
I think that
unpredictable.
The ESA doesn't, like Xbox, Nintendo, Sony. They don't need the ESA, but the ESA needs them. It's that kind of like relationship. Because they can announce any sort of event, and people are gonna watch and listen and stuff. So as far as like getting those directs and all that stuff, we'll be fine. We'll still get all that stuff going forward.
We'll be okay.
We'll be okay.
we'll be all right. I do have a question about, like, so with Nintendo, obviously Tears of the Kingdom is like their big game.
Yeah.
For the year. What are they going to announce? Like, if they were to have a June, and maybe I'm jumping ahead of myself because we still have a February direct that could be happening, but what would they even show off in a June direct? Like, would it be just like remakes and kind of like end of life cycle games, kind of like how we saw with the 3DS?
Yeah, I mean, it really really depends on what they show at the February direct. So this is my, and we'll jump into the next news here with all these, not news necessarily, but just speculation. I think they're going to start with Zelda. Zelda has been the closing thing for like the last 2 or 3 directs now, mainline ones. So I don't want them to end on that. I want them to end on something big that we don't know about. Maybe Metroid. Give us a Metroid Prime. Yeah. That would be amazing. So yeah, I think they'll start off with Zelda. We'll get like 10 to 15 minutes of like gameplay. They'll announce their amiibos. They'll announce the special edition, and then they'll say, "Hey, Zelda Direct coming in March or whatever." And then we'll have that to look forward to. And then they'll start going into their games. I think they're going to shadow drop Advance Wars. I think that's definitely a possibility. I think they'll shadow drop it. They'll shadow drop it, and then maybe in like the next like week or two, they'll send out the physical copies or whatever.
Okay.
I think that's a possibility, because I mean, at this point, just put it out. I mean, it doesn't need marketing. I think the people that are excited to play it are gonna get it. You know, it's time. I think, you know, obviously there's still stuff going over in between Russia and Ukraine, but I mean,
but it's not going to be a controversial game.
Yeah, and I think they honestly could have put it out back then, but I get why they didn't.
Well, if they just wouldn't have said anything, and just put it out, I think no one would have questioned it. And like, it's like a cartoon war game. Like, you have like Call of Duty. Like, it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it's like the game's about invading other countries and taking over, but yeah, I mean, there's other war games that came out and came and went, so I don't think anybody would have questioned or necessarily gotten upset at Nintendo. So yeah, I think they'll shadow drop Advance Wars. And then I don't, Metroid is such like an anomaly. I just don't know what they're gonna do with that. Like, I think maybe they'll, if they mention Metroid, I think they'll mention the remaster or the remake of 1, and that will come out relatively quick. and then they'll say, "Hey, Metro Prime 4 is still in development and it's going good. More news about that in the coming months, and then we'll get it at the June Direct." And then we'll get
for a late 2023 release.
I don't know if it's gonna be
Or
2023.
early 2024.
I'm thinking if like the Switch 2 comes out in the first quarter of next year, then I think it'll be a launch game. It'll be a dual release.
Okay.
Potentially, or maybe it'll be exclusive to the new one. I don't know. We don't even know if it's gonna be a backwards compatible or not. So
that's a hard pivot though. When you've been, I mean, they haven't been marketing this game, but like when you say like, oh, Metroid Prime 4 is coming to the Switch, and then you do a 180. I mean, I guess they did that for Breath of the Wild, but that was on a dying console, so that's a little bit different.
Yeah, I think the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible with Switch games. I think there's just no way they don't do that, you know. So yeah, I think they'll announce it for both. They'll say, hey, it's coming. You know, I don't think they'll say the next console yet, but you know, they'll announce it for next year, and then it'll just launch with the Switch 2.
I don't know. I still think it could be a holiday game. Like it could be like their like holiday 2023 game, because I don't know what else they would release. You know, we don't like Pikmin maybe.
Pikmin's coming out this year,
but that's kind of niche. Like I mean, I guess Metroid Prime is niche too. Like I don't know. Basically, what I'm saying is Tears of the Kingdom is their last hurrah. It's their last huge game that's coming out.
Yeah,
I guess after that, it's just Ganon fodder. It's just, you know, put out all the other stuff.
Yeah,
and hopefully it sells well. You know.
Yeah, I mean, do you think the Switch 2 comes out next year, like early next year, like a March time frame, or do you think it's a holiday 2024? Or do you think it comes out this year?
Not this year.
Okay.
I don't know. They might do March again. Yeah. Like that seemed to work so well because they weren't competing with like they weren't even competing with game releases. They were just competing with nothing really.
I think if they hold off until holiday 2024, that's when we'll see a lot of these like GameCube remasters, like maybe just throw out like Xenoblade Chronicles X, throw in Metroid Prime.
You're saying on the Switch one?
On the Switch one, yeah.
Okay.
And that way it fills the gap until we get to the next one. You know, throw out the Zelda games, like put those on there. Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, put those on there. I don't know. I mean, there's all these rumors about Nintendo just have like a few games that are done, but they're just kind of holding on to them at this point.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, and they're gonna release it holiday 2024, then they have some stuff to, you know, sell in the meantime.
And I think further evidence that there's not going to be a new Switch in 2023 is number one, Mario Kart 8 DLC.
Yeah.
Slated to come through the end of 2023. And then you have games like Xenoblade, which has major story DLC coming in later 2023.
Yeah. You
have games like Fire Emblem that have story content coming in 2023. Like I don't think they would just kind of move on to the next console before they get all that stuff out. Not that it's like those are big sellers, but aside from
they got a lot of stuff. They got a lot of stuff that they could potentially give to us that we would eat up. Like put Fire or Luigi's Mansion 1 and 2. Put that on there as like a dual pack or whatever digital. Who knows what they could do with that. I mean, I think they've given us every major Wii U thing at this point.
Just two major games. Zelda.
Maybe give us Star Fox Zero. I don't know.
I would love to play that game again. Yeah, I had a great time with it.
Like maybe like I would love to, like there's Resident Evil Revelations 3. Like I thought that was supposed to be in development. Where's that at?
Yeah.
You know, that could be like another Switch exclusive, or yeah. So
There's a lot of possibility.
a lot of possibilities, and we just need this direct, Nick. We just need it.
Just like we needed the last one.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, and the reason why we're talking about the rumors too is there's a new SKU for. Now, was this on the eShop or was this like on retailer side?
This was on like Canadian Walmart,
Okay.
Canada Walmart Canada.
For that and the Advance Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so the new SKUs for that, and then the Mario baseball game that.
There's some like leaks and rumors
okay
surrounding that. That is developed by Bandai Namco.
Okay. I could honestly give two craps about anything Mario sports related at this point.
We know it's going to come out in July, June.
Yeah.
Because that's how it always is. You know, they're announced in the February Direct, and then they come out in the summer, and we're always like, oh my god, this game looks so good. I can't wait.
And it's light on content, and they don't update it, and then it's done.
Boom.
So
in the past like 4 summers, starting with like Mario Tennis.
Yeah. Yeah, those games just aren't for me. And they're I think they're just way overpriced. Like it's like $30, $40, maybe consider it, but $60,
I'm not gonna pay $60 for Mario Baseball.
No way.
Couldn't be me.
All right, Nick. Any last thoughts on Nintendo Direct stuff? There could be a potential Direct this week. We don't know. There could be one next week. There could be one anytime.
I don't know. Like,
give me a date right now. What's your heart say?
What's today?
Today is the 30th.
30th. My heart says February 9th.
February 9th. Okay.
My mind says February 9th.
Okay.
My heart says February 1st.
I mean, we could wake up tomorrow, Nick, at some point, and Nintendo announces it. Oh, we said what?
I said I hope I wake up tomorrow. At some point.
Unfortunately, it's another day. I mean, yeah. I mean, that could be crazy that they just. All right, February. Let's give you all the Direct, February 1st.
Yeah, because like I don't, because their financials, they're like 9-month financials are coming out next week, right?
Yeah, on the 7th, I think, is when it happens.
Yeah, like I don't know if they would have a Direct that week.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
Because I mean, they haven't in the past. It's normally been like a week before or a week after.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, we'll see.
Do they usually do the Directs after the financial reportings, or is it just kind of just depends?
I think it's normally after.
After, okay. So we're looking like maybe at the more like the 15th then.
Yeah.
Which I've heard that date thrown around too. So I don't know. I think we'll definitely get one in the next 3 weeks. This week, next week, or the week after.
We'll get 3 in the next year.
I don't think we'll get a late February Direct. I don't think they're gonna do that. They want to at least get some stuff out there for Zelda, for Christ's sake.
Remember how crazy it was last September when the Queen passed, and everyone was like, "Is this gonna delay the Direct?"
Yeah.
And then it kind of did.
Oh God, yeah. Don't remind me. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for the show. Nick, where can they follow us on all of our stuff?
You can follow us on Twitter at Gaming WT Bros. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Gaming with the Broscast. And if you want to send us any good old fashioned electronic mails, you can do so via
email
gamingwiththebros at yahoo.com. And it's all in the description.
Sweet.
All below.
All right, guys. Well, we will catch y'all next week. I don't think there's any major games coming out this week, right, Nick? I think we're safe for a couple weeks.
We're safe.
Yeah. So, yeah, more Dead Space, more Fire Emblem talk, I'm sure. Probably more Hi-Fi Rush. And then maybe we'll be graced with the direct this week, and we'll have lots to talk about next week.
Maybe
We'll
there's
see.
like a Silk Song shadow drop
Oh my
next
god,
week.
Nate, don't do that to me. Oh, let's just shadow drop a 40-hour game.
Yeah, it's a good Wednesday. Let's just drop it.
Oh god, I would die.
Hmm.
That would be incredible. Yeah, we didn't even talk about Hollow Knight. I mean, that's a possibility
Also a possibility.
too. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we will see you guys next Monday.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Would you play Hollow Knight on Game Pass or the Switch?
Probably the Switch. I don't know. I played
Yeah.
the first one on the Switch.
Yeah, me too.
I just love playing it in handheld.
Yeah, have you played Fire Emblem?
I have
handheld?
not. I haven't played it on the big screen. It's been all handheld.
Okay, I played on the big screen for like an hour. Maybe.
Did it feel right?
Feels weird, man. It looks really good on handheld.
Yeah, it does look super good on handheld.
Yeah.
All right, Brisky. Well, I'm gonna go. Kellen took a late nap today, so we're just now getting him to bed.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Have fun.
I'll text
talk
you
to you
tomorrow.